JoJo Part 6. As a non-JoJo fan, I thought it'd be interesting for me to actually watch it real time and review it. It is now released on Netflix, the first 12 episodes are out, and to be honest, I was never a big fan of JoJo. It has its appealing moments, and I can understand why people love it, but as a person never truly invested in it, and having watched the first 2 seasons with sort of middling excitement on my part, I've only seen bits and pieces of Part 3, Part 4, Part 5. However, I do know how the story goes, and I have a general understanding of the overall plotline, with Dio, with Jotaro, with the JoJo bloodline, with generally everything. And I also know how Part 6 ends. I am aware of that. So I'm not going in blind, but I'm also not going in as a dedicated fan. But I wanted to give this a shot, mainly because I'm incredibly interested in how Araraki, Stella, is that the right name? Or I'm butchering this for someone else. Hopefully I got that right. Anyway, I was interested to see how he would handle Jolene Cujo. Because, to be quite honest, I don't see enough really good female protagonists in big screen anime like this. There's other smaller stuff that I've watched, such as Vivi Fluoride Ice Song, which was amazing, and other stuff from a long time ago like Kill la Kill. But currently on the rocks, there's not a lot of stuff that I watch that has that character. I wanted to see how someone who majorly writes male, buff, hypersexualized main characters, how he does. Because I'm also into writing, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to write female characters for myself, being a dude, if you could not tell, which I would be surprised. But I'm happy to say that while not being a JoJo fan myself, I thoroughly enjoyed the first part of Stone Ocean. I think there's body horror elements that I forgot JoJo had that were very well done. I thought the overall story is compelling enough, and I really like Jolene Cujo. She's by no means some amazing new step in the character, but she's also probably one of the first, because I don't know when this Part 6 came out. Here we go. The year 2000. So to be fair, they're pretty ahead of the curve of strong female characters in modern media. But Jolene is interesting. She has a good explanation for her behavior, not having a father figure for most of her life, but also she doesn't resent Jotaro for the whole portion. Once she fully realizes that he does care for her, and she realizes it pretty quickly, she turns from what could possibly be a very annoying and drawn-out, angsty teen rebelling against father stuff to a daughter following in her father's footsteps of heroism, doing everything she can and risking her own life to save the life of the father she barely knows. Not because she's angry at him and he must live so he can answer, but because she knows he loves him, and she knows that he loves her, and I think somewhere deep down she now understands maybe a little bit why he left, and the stand ability, and probably that her life and her bloodline is far more complicated than she was ever really privy to. So I really did appreciate that, and I hope to see more interactions between her and a fully conscious Jotaro in the future. I think her supporting cast of Hermes, who is sort of brash, very, go-getter, understanding the prison system more, is a very entertaining one. I think their designs are very on point and very recognizable. Foo Fighters is an interesting addition. I'm interested to see how she goes on with this and whether or not Jolene can keep reining her in. All right, even though I do know the ending to this, I don't know the in-between, so it's interesting to see. I think Empiro is an interesting character. He's just a kid who's quite competent, which is sort of nice seeing the kid character in an anime not be the idiot getting everybody in trouble, but rather constantly doing his best to save Jolene, and to keep her from following the same fate as his mother. I really liked Weather Report, who just seems like a weird but honest guy. It's interesting how Araki can make some... Here, actually, I'll put that thought at the end of this. White Snake is a very interesting, or maybe not too interesting at the moment. The implications towards the final episode are much more interesting. His relationship with Dio and who he is as a character is interesting, and as a villain, he is pretty menacing to begin. I will say later on, when they start using more CG for his character model, as well as Lang Wrangler, That CG in the opening sequence, awesome. In the actual show, pretty mid. But overall, the style is nice. The characters are recognizable, if some of them do get killed off a little quickly. The prison system is pretty fascinating to see. I have not watched many things in a prison, and I only know of one popular show, Prison Break, and Orange is the New Black too, but I assume those aren't very similar to the JoJo, but it's definitely... I've always been incredibly impressed with Araki's ability to take interesting and different locations and really bring them into the forefront for his pieces. So even though I'm not a big fan of JoJo as something I want to watch on my off time, I am incredibly impressed with the author, as well as if he also does the art too. It's pretty darn amazing. So overall, I thoroughly enjoyed the first part. It's not the best thing I've ever seen, but it's very fun, and I can fully understand now why people watch this stuff. And I'm interested to see where it goes, specifically to see whether or not this sort of melding of characters who sort of barely know each other but also are united by a single front, which is not a new idea, but Araki handles very well, and it's very nice to see him make characters who are not outright annoying, even though they are brash, even though they're headstrong, even though they sort of do dumb stuff and explain themselves and come up with on-the-fly ideas. I like how Araki tries to make his characters smart and emotionally competent, which is something I think needs to be seen a lot more in media. It's so easy to write just a dumb or brash or annoying character without giving them, that sort of depth that it seems like these JoJo characters have at the moment. Are there stuff that I take issue with in the anime? Yeah, it's a bit stiff. I will say some characters are more interesting than others. I will say the pacing, while generally pretty good, can falter from time to time. And the art style and everything about it, it's very specific, even especially the first episode. This is not going to be something for everybody, and if you are new to JoJo, I don't know if you'll like this. You may not. This might not be the best jumping in point for you. I'm not the person to really determine that. But I will say, if you want to watch something that's zany, different, and overall, I think pretty honest in the fact that it's Araki's work. It's a story that he wants to tell. Honest in the same way that I think One Piece is, in the fact that it's got such a huge following and it's just so difficult to get into and it's just crazy, but it's like that for a reason, not because it's just a shill of some ton of different tropes and stuff. It's honest in the fact that the writer is doing what they want and doing it with a lot of heart and passion. And overall, I have to give marks for that. So even though I would give Stone Ocean generally at the moment about a 7, I'll bump it up to a 7.5, and if their animation gets a little bit better, I'll bump it up to an 8 next time the next 12 episodes are released. So yeah, that's my review. Let me know what your favorite part is below and whether or not I should watch it. Give me your thoughts on Stone Ocean and whether or not you think my review of it is pretty fair. Yeah, that's it. Oh, please feel free to like and subscribe. I don't expect you to subscribe, but if you could just give me a like, helps a lot. You can take it back later if you want. Doesn't hurt me either way. Or if you want to dislike, you can't see that anymore. So that's a thing. That dates this video. I guess the fact that I'm reviewing JoJo dates this video. Anyway, that's it. Subscribe, comment, and give me something else to review. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.